Every good true crime story starts with a 911 call and some kind of police response. And this is kind of an exception, though, because it does have both elements, but they occur right about the same time. That's rare. What possessed a man in Cleveland to eliminate 4 of his family members and injure a 5th? Certainly, it can't just be that he was hangry, or can it? I'm Drew. I'm an authentic cop, and I've teamed up with John, and he's an actual 911 dispatcher. Together, we can bring you a delicious and honest perspective of a case with a true crime flavor because we have the experience to back it up. Yes, we're live again, so you can't just fast forward through the chapters and see how this one ends. And if you miss it, don't blame us. All that and what it means for your weekend on the Comm Center.
City council members have announced their plan to disband the Minneapolis Police Department.
We're calling for defunding the police.
Shootings in New York City have more than doubled this year.
Wake up, America. It's the Comm Center with Drew Breezy. It's a TV show on the internet about 2 best friends who try to save money on a mattress by starting a knife fight in the mattress store. I'm John. I'm an actual 911 dispatcher. I've been doing this job for almost 10 years. We're joined, as always, by Drew Breezy. Drew was a police officer for 29 years, a detective. He did interrogations work, investigations, all kinds of cool stuff. We're going to be doing an awesome, awesome case out of Cleveland tonight. We're going to start by 911 audio. Every good true crime story starts with a 911 call. So, Drew, without further ado, let's get to it.
Yeah, Cleveland Police. This is Operator Taylor. How can we help you?
Hi, Tara. I got a phone call from my ex-boyfriend that he just killed his whole family, and his mother is on his way there to the house.
Okay, what's the address?
3719 Mac Court.
3719 Mac Court.
3719 Mac Court.
Is that a single, double, or an apartment?
I think it's a single. It's a house. The one he said he killed was his sister, brother-in-law, 2 kids, and his sister's father.
Okay, ma'am, hold on 1 second. He said he texted you this?
No, he called me to tell me that.
You think he's serious?
When the first time he called, he was crying and told me that he loved me, that he's always going to love me, and he's never going to see me again, and he was very highly upset and then hung up. When I called him back several times, he refused to answer.
Okay, can you name out the people again you said who he said he killed?
It's the sister. Her name is Angelique. The husband, Tone. 2 kids. 1 17, I think the other little girl 6. And the father. His name is Angel.
All right, what's your ex-boyfriend's name?
His name is Martin, Martin, Muniz, Muniz.
What's his date of birth?
11/24/71.
Is he black, white, Hispanic?
He's Hispanic. I know he's walking right now because when he FaceTimed me, he was walking.
You know what he's wearing?
He's wearing a red hoodie. It has like a logo on the left side of the shirt. The hoodie is up, but underneath the hoodie, he's wearing like a cap, like a white, like a snow cap, I guess you can call it. He has a full beard.
You know where he's walking towards?
No.
You think he's wearing, okay, a red hoodie?
Yeah.
And you know what color pants or no?
No. I'm assuming he's wearing jogging pants because his jeans don't fit him, he says.
Does he have any mental or physical disabilities?
No, he's bipolar, but he did tell me that he has a gun and he still has 2 bullets in it.
Do we know what kind of gun?
No. And I know the mom and the grandmother are on the way to the house.
His mother?
Her mother. What? It's their mother, yeah.
His boyfriend's mother?
Yes.
You said he's known to have what kind of disorder?
He's bipolar. he has bipolar issues.
Do we know anything else?
No, he's been in prison before. He's been there a total of 21 years of break, but it was never for murder. It's always been drug charges.
So he called upset and crying?
Yeah, the first time he did. The second time when we talked on FaceTime, he seemed he seemed more calm, but he just kept saying over and over because I did it.
So when he called back, he seemed calm?
Yeah, but he kept saying, I killed them all.
Okay.
I'm serious. I'm not crazy. And you could go to the address and verify. The address is 3719 Mac Court. But I want you to handcuff me first.
All right, let me pull up really quick.
Okay.
What the hell's going on, dude? What the hell, dude? Hold on, I got us. Get out, cuffs.
John, this seems like a movie. I'm telling you, I've been in this guy's shoes, and it's like this, you know, the only thing I can tell you about police work in my experience is the more outlandish something sounds, the truer it ends up being. And that's a pain in the ass. But what did you think of the 911 call? We forgot to talk about that.
Well, I didn't forget. I'm grateful that I've never taken a 911 call quite like that. The first thing she said is, you know, do you think he's sincere? Do you think he's serious? People will make threats, and people who are in acute mental distress sometimes are disconnected from reality, and they can report things that are not true. But the number one thing is that you really don't want it to be true, because what is being told to her by a third party is that a horrific killing spree has occurred. It's something that's going to make any dispatcher very, very upset. But you can tell that this dispatcher is very good, very, very well experienced. She's a good dispatcher. This is Cleveland. She probably has been through something similar before, and she's locked in, getting good information, getting a suspect description, finding out if he's armed. And we'll see that the description that she got of him was very accurate, was very good stuff. This is a good reporting party. Finding out that he's still armed with a weapon is of paramount importance for the safety of the officers. However, this all kind of goes down strangely because he dialed 911, I'm guessing, or he did through her. But these cops still kind of come across him incidentally, which is tremendously dangerous. I don't think that these officers are actually on the lookout for him at the time that he waves them down.
No,
No.
and
so do they have any of this information? You know, in fact, you know, they don't necessarily believe him at first, but this guy's armed and has enough ammunition to take them both out. So even though we received information on it, because of the way the real world works, these officers are still kind of being caught off guard, and they feel like they stepped in it. You know, have you ever heard the old phrase like being in a jackpot? Or this is what they're in. They're all of a sudden they are neck deep in a huge situation, Drew.
Yeah, I'll share a story later if you all want to hear it, if you want to remind me of it. But something very similar happened to me. I mean, my partner and I were supposed to go eat. We only got 45 minutes to eat, so it's and there's only one place open when way back when in the 1900s when I was out there patrolling in the area I was patrolling in, and man, like if you miss your meal, you're gonna miss your meal. And I got this call in my zone, and then they ended up freeing me off of it so I could go eat. But I was like, oof, you know, it was at the hospital. I was very territorial in the hospital, and I was like, I want to go there. I just let me swing by because I don't want to, you know, I don't want anybody to end up taking my report. And I listened to this guy, and everyone around me said, this guy's insane. He's lying to you. And I'm the only one that believed him, and he was 100% right.
Well, there's a huge risk in not believing him, right? I mean, one thing that we would do when I was a correctional officer, which I think will come to bear later, is that I'll never forget what my warden taught me the first time he came and spoke to our class of recruits. Resolve all doubt in your favor. It's just a great tip for police officers, for dispatchers. I tell that to the dispatchers that I train now. but no matter what's going on, you have to assume that a report like this, however crazy or unusual, you have to operate on the side that they're being truthful and take all precautions for everyone's safety, which is exactly what they're going to do. This guy is saying he wants to be handcuffed. Well, they're going to oblige him,
You
if
gotta
it turns
believe
out
him.
later that he's just a crackpot who just feeling a little kinky tonight, they can always control Z that. They can undo that. But
Yeah.
let's make sure that if we have someone who's really as dangerous as he claims, that we have him in custody.
This is where the body cams come in handy, because if you're worried, like, this guy's baiting me into some kind of lawsuit or something, I mean, he's right on the body cam telling you everything he wants to do and everything that he's done. And it gets better. It gets a lot better. So
one thing that's interesting is that when the common person watches something like this, something they really, really don't understand is Miranda rights. I have yet to commonly encounter someone who understands Miranda rights. Well, they didn't read him his rights. This guy walked up and made certain incriminating statements against interest. He's not in custody. They didn't ask him any questions. Everything that this guy just said and walked up and said, it's all gold and it's all admissible, right, Drew?
it is. There's going to be a point, though, where you're going to have to have some kind of interaction, or the minute you put those handcuffs on him, he's now in custody. So you're probably going to have to, err on the side of caution when it comes to that, especially if he's saying, I'm going to take you to the house, or I'm going to take you to the address. Here's the address. And he wants to voluntarily get in the car. There's an argument that's going to be made when he changes his mind that he voluntarily got in that car. The argument's going to be he was no longer free to leave because he couldn't get out the back and whatever. So there's going to come a point. Yeah,
even if it just appears that way. We've broken down cases before where someone's not even being interviewed or whatever, but just the high number of officers around him can give that impression.
Yeah,
Lawyers will make a field day with
armed.
that. So
Yeah.
But this guy wants to talk about what's happened. So I say, just so you know, you've got certain constitutional rights. With bearing all that in mind, you still want to tell me what's on your mind tonight? You may as well.
Yeah. It gets very interesting. Are you going to press play, or am I?
I'll let you do it. You press play.
Turn your camera on. 240 radio.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can put us off, or clear us off of this assignment. No cause. And put us out at 44 on Clark with a male. He approached our vehicle and said that he just did something bad, and he's going to give us an address on McCord as to what he did and where it's at.
We as dispatchers would hate this.
Yeah.
So they're 10-8. They're done from whatever it is they just did. And without any context or clues, this is where being a dispatcher is bad, because you care about your officer's safety. Somebody in the comm center knows that there's a guy on the loose who may have annihilated his family. We haven't necessarily connected those things together, but we're about to.
No, it gets it gets connected pretty quickly, but it's not. You're right. Like this, you said it a couple minutes ago. Like this guy appeared out of nowhere, and they don't know who he is, and they're dealing with him. And in the midst of dealing with him, the light bulb goes off.
Yeah,
it's pretty unnerving.
So now we're starting to call for service and taking all these details over the radio, and hearing something like he did something bad. We're all just like, oh no, what is this? So the anticipation of not knowing what it's going to be, and then the information filters in, and we're all cringing as it goes. Here we go.
$37.19 McCord. He said that he killed 5 people.
How do you say that nonchalantly on the radio? He said he did something bad. He said he did something bad, and what are we all thinking? Like, oh, he probably slid into a pole, or we're all hoping it's kind of that.
He dumped his aquarium. He dumped his kid's aquarium and killed all the fish. You know what I mean? Like he did something bad. He killed his kid's hamster.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, no, I killed 5 people.
There's no 10 code for familicide in most agencies, so there's no like real shorthand way to do that. Like, yeah, he said he just killed 5 people. So
I do like the relay though. The partner who's putting handcuffs on him, and they were just kind of like, "Get your cuffs ready." I don't know what this guy's doing. And
yeah,
as soon as they have
first
the
we're
hand-
like,
he
what
gives
the hell is this? What is this shit? All right.
And as soon as he gets the news, he relays it to his partner, and his partner relays it to everybody listening. He just killed 5 people.
And now the cops are looking at each other, they're high-fiving each other like, shit, we both just made detective. Like, this is the easiest case we could ever close.
This is where it gets a little like hair raising a little bit too, though.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at so the setting is, this was January 13th of 2023, so we're not even at a year yet. Or are we? Yeah, so it's we're coming up on 2 years. Yeah. And you could just tell because it's Cleveland, it's cold. Like, you could just tell. Like, look at it. It doesn't look like it's warm out. You know what I mean? And they're just like,
Browns
Jesus.
are definitely done playing by then for sure.
Right?
So
They're well off of their, they're not at 500. And go.
But they're gonna send officers out to this address on Matt Court. Obviously, these 2 are gonna detain him, keep him in custody. I don't think they would actually take him back to the scene when they can have other units go over there. So the other units are going to go over there and do a welfare check. We've received, at least information we've got to act on, that people are potentially in danger. They may be dead or close to death, but we've got to get, as a dispatcher, I'm going to send the cops over there, and I'm also going to possibly put multiple ambulances on standby or have them staged, just because we have to presume that what we're hearing is the truth. So we'll get back to it here.
Hey, you guys identify real fast.
I just got a call from that address. Stated that her ex-boyfriend called, notified her that he just killed his sister, her husband, and 2 children, and their father.
So this is a whole different set of officers.
1954.
Hi, my daughter lives here. I got a call from 2 cousins, my son.
Now, Drew, do you hate this? Because you're a third party. I presume this is our 911 caller or somebody related to the family, but she's beat us here. How does that make you feel as an officer on scene, that you've got a family member who's waiting outside? Does that make it better? Does it make it worse? Does it not affect you at all? Because as a 911 dispatcher, whenever someone's telling me, hey, I'm going to the scene where I think something's wrong, I always kind of try to discourage them. Like, can you wait at a gas station nearby for somebody to contact you? How does it affect you to have family there?
Great question. The first things first. You asked it a second ago, and I didn't answer it yet. But we're not bringing that guy over here because we're not going to contaminate the scene, and we don't want him to see what we see. Just in the event, like, what if he just fired shots at people? He didn't really kill them. You know what I mean? So we're going to keep him from there. We don't want his DNA getting all over the place either. So he's probably going to stay in that patrol car until detectives get there, or they're going to request that he come down. They'll probably get permission to do that from him. And he's completely cooperative anyway. He flagged them down apparently. To have those people there though is quite unnerving. And I'll tell you, for a couple of reasons. And I've been in this situation before also. I'm not big on war stories. I have a few though, and
we are trying to sell those war stories, so
they're worth telling sometimes. But so you get to the house, you got people there. It just adds to the confusion, first of all, and you're going to see in a second that they just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, they're telling you something very serious. They're lending validity to it, and then they're also kind of saying, let me just go in and I'll check then, and you're like, no, you're not going to do that. Like, no, you can't do that.
We would rather you not be fully traumatized today,
Yeah. So having them there is extra. It's it's a little bit extra to deal. It's another spinning plate to deal with. For one, and two, it's it starts like the burning that started in the bottom of your spine is now burning halfway up your back, and because everything is falling into place. Like you have an independent party calling 911. You have a guy flagging a set of fellow officers down, telling the same story, and now you've got these people here. And I can just tell you, it's a weird feeling, and it's something you should trust as an officer. But when the hair on the back of your neck stands up, there's a reason for that. And I mean, it's completely. It's a sixth sense, I guess, but it really is your body telling you, prepare. You need to prepare here because something really bad is happening.
And there's no even obvious benefit. Like these people don't live
No.
here. They can't give you permission to go in the house or anything. So it's not like you can even exploit the situation at all.
No, I mean, there might be a way or two around it because of who's inside, but yeah, you're right. Like it's just, they kind of complicate things really, but it's, it's not their fault, and they want to be there too. So listen very carefully to what the mother says here. They're blurred out so nobody can see them, but listen to what she says.
Before we do go in, I just have a quick question for you on welfare checks in general. Okay. So you've got to go to this house, the door, in this case, we're going to find that it's ajar, but what are the rules for you entering a house if you have reasonable suspicion that somebody may be injured? And how is that different versus a welfare check where, so-and-so just calls because they haven't heard from grandma in a while? Like, what is it that gives you leverage to decide to go in a house without a warrant?
It's a case-by-case situation, but what you have to take in the totality is, like, are they in there bleeding out, basically? I mean, that's what we call an exigent circumstance. We have to make a decision of whether we're going to call for assistance from maybe the fire department to help us get in. Are we going to kick the door in ourselves? I've kicked in a few doors. That's kind of my favorite thing to do.
You're a badass. I know.
It's not even that. And then, or in the case, like you said, of there's flies on the window. There's newspapers piled up. Let's try to get a hold of a family member. There are times when you could just kind of go at 1.0 speed instead of 2.5 speed. So
yeah, if it's already over, there's no need to be in a hurry. This sounds terrible, but a person can't really get any more dead.
Yeah. So let's
play. With that in mind, this wonderful Christmas season, let's go ahead and play. And make sure you listen. Like Drew said, make sure you listen to what the people on scene are telling the officers.
Murder them all. I don't know. I just got here, and I don't trust him, so I was afraid to knock on the door. I was waiting for you guys.
Okay, so the dramatic music doesn't normally play, but when it does, it makes it more dramatic. But that is the mother, if you're not following along, or if you're unable to hear it, that's the mother that said she used the M word. He M-worded everybody in there. And I've got that, information that came from a cousin. And also, so obviously this guy did what he did, and he just started calling people to say his goodbyes. Right. So, and that's very common, by the way. That'll happen. So she's like, I didn't even want to go up there because I don't trust him. So when you're talking to a dude's mom, and the dude's mom is telling you, he says he M'd people in there, he's capable of it. You're like, fuck, here we go. So that's where you're at now. Now you've got to approach the house, and you got to figure out if it's legit or not. And I'm telling you, this is where now the warming sensation has made it up to your shoulder blades at a minimum. And it's probably on fire at that point.
Here, I don't believe.
He
approached two.
Do you know the cousin? Does he have mental disorders? What's up? Who's the guy that called?
My son, yes. He was locked up for 20 years. Yes, he's got mental
What was he
issues.
locked up for?
All kinds of violations.
Like violence
yes,
against people?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, just hang tight for us.
But, my daughter's car's actually, oh my God, my whole inside was
Now, Drew, what's the reason why he's looking in the window?
You want to see what you can see. I mean, who knows? You want to make sure that the guy's not in there. Also, even though you have other officers out with him, but you got to make sure that there's not a second person involved in this, one. And then two, if you can see something right in there, then you're going right in. You know what I mean? Now they're still having to approach it they have like what I would call at this point a 65 to 75% exigency. They're trying to get to that 100 without even getting to the door. But you'll see. I mean, plus you don't want to pass by a window without like illuminating it. So you kind of blind whatever's on the other side of it.
Also, you really just want to see the family inside all playing a game of Monopoly and just
Parcheesi.
go 10-8.
Yeah. Like a little Christmas game of Parcheesi. Yeah.
Best case scenario is what that would be.
Yeah. 5 radio. The front door is open.
Drew, the front door being open is a more of an advantage to you, isn't it? I mean, there's a reduced expectation of privacy. I mean, you for sure are just good to go in there, right?
You are, but now the blood has reached your ears. And because when the door's open, you're like, okay, well, it's kismet. I mean, I am supposed to be here in this moment. I'm supposed to go in this house, and this is really real. This is where, like, maybe it was a bunch of hooey back in the 1900s to practice mindfulness, but this is exactly where this comes into play. You have got to stay present at all costs here. You're about to have your hand on your gun, and you're about to open this door, and I have the feeling that they're like, I hate throwing out numbers again, but they're probably at 100% exigency right now. They're just going to clear it through a supervisor. They're probably at 75% to 80%. I can feel the death in here. Like there's death in here. I guarantee the minute they open that door, it's not maybe a smell, but it's a change in the atmosphere. You would be shocked at how well and how perceptive your body is when it comes to this stuff. I've been there. Boy, do I have a story about that. Anyway.
Yeah, I've perceived things like that as well when I was working in prison. It was hard because my spider sense was always overloaded by evil, but even I could tell sometimes. Here we go. He's about to make entry into the house.
It's just unlocked. It's not all the way open.
Copy.
You want me to walk in first and call my grandkids?
No, man.
No.
Oh, shoot. So that's what I was talking about. Do you want me to walk in there first and call my grandkids? No, I don't want you to walk in there first. Like, give me a second to think. Like, what I don't want is, you called us here because you think that there's a credible M word going on in there. I don't want, like, and I'm not blaming her. She's just like,
she's trying to be helpful.
She doesn't know what to do. And she's actually trying to be helpful as in like, my grandkids will come to me. Like they don't know who you are, which is true, but we can't let her in there
Do you think she's holding out hope do you think she's holding out hope that they're alive? Because she believes that he's capable of it, but she's like, do you want me to go in there first? And it's just like, if they're all dead, it's a crime scene. And we, just for your sake, we don't want you to go in there. So she's
not only holding out hope, she's probably thinking, let me call the grandkids to come out because there's no way he would do that. Meaning, I believe that he could kill his sister and his dad or whatever, and her husband and whatnot. But no, there's 2 grandkids in there. They'll come running to me. And little do we know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What's interesting is that, I've done a lot of podcasting and I've done a lot of family annihilator cases, but none of them are like this. Something that's really common is that, you'll have a male, usually the fatherly figure. He's had a big failure. It's all about keeping up the appearance of his lifestyle, and it's all crumbling down and he's about to get into trouble. And they usually even kill the family dog too.
Yeah.
But this is nothing like that. And that doesn't make it any less shocking. If you're ready to go inside at long last, Drew.
Yep, let's go. Hold your breath. Here we go.
Yeah, the police officer really doesn't want to go in there, and maybe we don't either, but we're going to do it. Here we go.
Yeah, I rewound it a little bit, but
925 radio. The front door is open. It's just unlocked. It's not all the way open.
Copy.
You want me to walk in first and call my grandkids?
No, man. No. Hey, Sarge,
My
given
daughter, she got
permission
two
to go
kids,
inside
her
this.
husband.
Have you tried to call her?
I called all of them. No one's answering.
there's another red flag.
What was the red flag, Drew? I missed it.
Have you called your daughter? She said, I tried to call all of them. Nobody's answering.
That's not good. Everybody's got a phone, and if all 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them aren't answering, that's a terrible sign.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't need permission.
Hello?
We had 2 emails
Okay, we don't need permission.
en route to the location. I wasn't notified of anyone being inside.
Okay, so what they're saying is he's saying, hey, Sarge, do we have permission to go in here? He's not asking if there's exigent circumstance enough. He's asking from a departmental standpoint, do I have your permission to breach this door? The whoever's walking up the side of the house is wisely saying, don't ask for permission. Let's just go.
The other thing is if people knowing the outcome of the case, or they're just questioning police procedure because we know that the outcome is a very negative one, and they want to say, why aren't they going in a hurry? What I would say to you is that the police are also here to uphold your civil rights, and going inside your house is a huge deal. It would be a violation of the 4th Amendment for them to just charge in there without being ready. We've established that they're long ready, but if you see police officers being careful about going into a house like this, or anything that has to do with privacy for citizens, you want them to behave this way. So just remember that.
Yep. And if you didn't hear, the dispatcher over the radio said, we have 2 females that are supposedly en route to that house that might know someone that's in there. And that's always how it happens, by the way. They've already been at the house. The cops have shown up. They've had a whole conversation with the cops, and the information is just getting to the dispatcher, who's now relaying it to the people that are out there. That's, like, the officers never said, hey, we're with these, we're with the 2 ladies, or we're with the complainants. Or
it's too late now. Yeah, you're not going to set up cars at the end of the street to keep anyone from approaching. They're already there.
Yeah, right. All right. So you can feel the energy shift, I'm sure. When we open the door here, everything's going to be blurred out. But they're going to start their search of the residents.
Please.
You always knock and announce. Always knock and announce with your intentions.
Clean, please. Somebody's on the bed. Oh, yo, it's real. Get EMS rolling.
Radio.
All right, so I've been in these shoes too. You shine your light and you see, okay, everything is now verified. The creep factor is like at 106 at this point. And
by the way, if you've never seen a dead body, you can tell right away. You don't have to approach them and try to get a pulse. You can tell from across the room when somebody's wasted. Something happens to a person, they transform into, they're not a person anymore. They're a corpse. I don't mean that in a way that's disrespectful at all, but I've seen dead people, reality. And you can tell when a person has, all life has left them. You can tell.
Yeah, and the way that he said that he eliminated them would probably be a pretty good indicator too. But you can see that he shifted his flashlight over, and as soon as his flashlight hit something, he was like, "Oh, fuck, this is real. This is legit. Yeah. Get EMS on the way."
Now, what's the benefit of getting EMS rolling? I mean,
well, you don't know who else is in there. You don't know who else is hurt. You don't know who else is. And as it turns out, again, hindsight's 20/20, but as it turns out, 2 people were transported out of there. Only one survived. But
due diligence, and with a case like this, the ambulance is usually involved in transporting to the morgue, so they're coming either way.
Yeah, right.
Let's keep going.
You got one female on the ground.
According to a probable cause affidavit, officers found 5 victims, each shot in the head. 3 victims, 16-year-old Jaden Baez, 34-year-old Angelique, and 70-year-old Miguel Angel Gonzalez, were pronounced dead on arrival. 2 victims, 48-year-old Anthony Booth and his 8-year-old daughter, were transported to a nearby hospital. Anthony Booth succumbed to his wounds, while the 8-year-old was treated for her injuries and eventually recovered, albeit with the horrific loss of her immediate family members.
This video is from Law and Crime. It was amazing to watch last night. I watched it with my wife. But that punched me in the gut. When the 8-year-old girl made it, like, I'm glad she made it. I'm glad she's alive, but is she alive? Because
Oh man,
what's her life going to be like? Like, I really, pray and hope that everything turns out positively for her. I don't see, I see a very long road for her because 4 people were emmed right around her by her own uncle. And he shot her with the same intent. It's just that,
yeah, we're not even talking just strictly emotional stuff, although it's certainly going to be there, but she's going to have physical problems, and it's going to be a constant reminder, and pain and therapy, and we don't even know what level of functioning she's going to have, but she's marked for the rest of her life. There's no clean getaway on this one. I guess I don't know how to phrase it better, but it's truly shocking. What kind of person could point a weapon at a child? We're going to meet him, and you're going to get to know him a little bit here.
Homicide detectives and crime scene units arrived swiftly, trying to make sense of the horror that had unfolded. What could possibly drive someone to commit such a brutal massacre? There was only one person who could answer that: Martin Muniz. He was taken to the station for questioning, and what he revealed to detectives wasn't just disturbing, it was the kind of confession that would haunt them for years to come.
Drew, I heard recently that guilty people in the interrogation room, they sleep while waiting.
True.
Is that true?
It's not always while they're waiting, but the guilty always sleep. Yeah, because either they're feigning, either they're not wanting to deal with it and they're detached, or their adrenaline dump is probably 5 times or 100 times that of anybody else at that moment, because it's over and they know what they've done, and so now, like, I don't know, their body just prepares them to, this is the fight or flight part. This is like your flight. You're just you're wiped out.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, and just looking at lots of different true crime, I've seen that people that have perpetrated it are usually camping out, like this guy is here. If you're just listening, we're looking at a suspect in an interrogation room, a rather nice one, if you ask me, and he's got his head down on a table, a couple bottles of water. Some detectives are going to come in, and he's going to talk about tonight.
My name is Detective Schultz, and Chuck and I, we're really not too.
Before we get too far into it, we've got a very insightful chat going tonight. It's usually just members in there. It's a big melting pot right now. So if you want to become a member of the channel, please do, and join us in the chat. We have active law enforcement officers. We have true crime enthusiasts. We have everybody you can imagine, mothers, sons, and we even have religious folk in here. So join us in these chats. You can go to our YouTube channel and join the channel. It's really kind of inexpensive, and we made it that way. But one of the observations I keep seeing is that it's a police officer from the Northwest who keeps reminding me that, like, when you go into a scene like this, you start smelling the iron. You smell like pennies. That's the way it's being described. So that sense, that smell will trigger you. That'll trigger you into knowing what is happening. And that comes from human blood.
The smell of, I was going to say, are you talking about human blood? Unfortunately, I've had the exact same experience.
Yeah. Right.
Here we go.
Here we go. This, by the way, oh my God. This, by the way, I'm calling the reverse interrogation. Although I keep hitting the wrong button. So hold
Yeah,
on.
you'll see him
What's
get
his name?
frustrated here that he has to explain himself over and over again. But they really do need to get him to lock into a story because there's every chance that
Well,
somehow he's not telling the truth.
Right. And on top of that, what he did just doesn't add up. It just doesn't make sense. Like it's not it's just nonsensical.
Cause affidavit. Officers found.
All right, I apologize. I hit the wrong button, so we're back just a little bit.
Here we go.
Up to speed on what all is taking place here this evening?
Well, I tried to kill my sister's whole family, but 2 of them got lucky and lived.
2 of them got lucky and lived.
The other 3 didn't.
So nonchalant there, drinking the water.
What prompted that? Anything
Just the
specific?
way people treat me.
Okay.
You know, I came home from prison. I didn't bother nobody. I tried to get a job. They're going to tell you when they scrambled through my tablet. I was on Deed. I did job interviews. I went to Catholic churches. Just couldn't get a job. And then they make food, but they eat it all. So by the time I get to it, there's nothing to eat. And all they tell me is that's my business. Okay. So I let that go on for months. You know, I got blisters on my feet from walking 11 miles trying to get a job, but you guys got 2 cars and you can't drive me?
Sure.
So I killed them.
So how
So he's got blisters on his feet from having to go to the arduous task of walking, which, you know, before cars was the way most people got around. But because he had to get blisters on his feet and they were not feeding him, even though he was a grown man, he says, I killed them. Totally self-motivated, totally devoid of empathy. He even seems irritated that he even had to go to the trouble of killing them, as though that was something that was putting him out of his way. I'm going to tell you though, again, relying on my 6 years, which is not very long, but 6 years inside the state penitentiary, I met a lot of guys like this. This man's not insane. He has what we call criminal thinking. He's just an institutionalized criminal. They said that he'd been inside the walls for 20 years. He got very used to a life in there. And if you've ever seen Shawshank Redemption, it's very much true. He is institutionalized. He became used to life inside. He gets out and life's actually a lot harder. You have to walk 11 miles, which you can't do in a prison. You have to get a job, which is not hard at all to do at a prison as long as you're behaving yourself. He's dealing with all these other people that he wouldn't normally have to deal with. He's having to try to fit into a cohesive family unit, which you don't have to do when you're in a prison. And after 21 years and all the problems that he does have, you know, he may have bipolar disorder, but it's not diminishing him beneath the threshold where he's not responsible. He totally understands what he's done, and he's remorseless, and he's just a criminal. And to be honest with you, this was one of the most frustrating aspects of being a correctional officer, of working inside a state prison, is that you would interact with people like this for 8 or 12 hours a day. And being around a person like this is an acid bath for your soul, and it destroys your empathy, and it makes you into a bad person. And you would try to come home and go back out into the community and the world, and you're carrying a little bit of the piece of this guy with you because you spend so much time with him, and people can't understand the reality that this guy is just your common evil person. And I mean that. I mean, you know, we think of evil as an extraordinary thing, but the truth is it's very common. This is a very common evil person. Drew?
Yeah. I mean, he just flat out admitted it, and wait till you get to his motive. I mean, it's more than just having to walk.
How long have you been living at the house on that?
Couple of months.
Couple months. And again, I don't know anything about your history, Mr. Muniz. How long have you been out of prison?
4 years.
4 years? Okay.
Have you been staying at your sister's the whole time?
No, I've been to Texas, I've been to Jersey, I've been to Illinois, here.
So, Mr. Muniz, can you walk us through the events of this evening, how it transpired? Or?
No, I came upstairs to eat, and I asked my sister's dad, no, I'm lying. I asked Jaden, her son.
You see the way he commonly explains himself? He's like, no, I'm lying. He just said something that was incorrect, but he said, I'm lying. This just shows you how different he is versus you and me. Like, if we made a mistake or we misspoke, we wouldn't say, no, I'm lying. He would, you know, this shows you too, that by saying, no, I'm lying, he'll characterize a misstatement as a lie. He's telling the absolute truth. He is not holding anything back. He is not acting in his own best interests. Drew, it's fairly obvious what he wants the outcome of this to be. And this is, again, something that people can't reckon with.
Right.
He wants to go to prison.
Yep. Yeah, you'll see in a second. He gets to the motivation.
I said, yo, where's the rest of the food at? He said, no, it's gone. I'm like, what you mean it's gone? I didn't even eat yet. So he was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. So I said, okay, well, where's my sister at? So I asked my sister, I said, where's the food at? She said, I don't know. Why are you asking me? I said, okay. I said, yo, I didn't eat. We're going to have a problem. Nobody said nothing. So, they had to go.
What happened when you left the house? Can you call?
Did you see how he kind of drifted off there? And he's just like, so I had to go.
Where you went?
I don't know, man. I just wanted a gun in my hand.
Sure. Do you, any idea where you put that?
No.
Not certain.
Did you take it out of the house with you?
Yeah, it was on me. I don't know where I put it at. I had to put it somewhere.
But you left the house with the gun.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna leave it there. This ain't the first time I'm killing somebody. I got caught with the first gun on the first body. They just couldn't prove it was me.
Where was that at?
New Jersey. I gave the guy's name is Jamie Molina. I killed him on October 13, 2013. North.
Drew, spontaneous confession to another serious felony. Have you ever had that as a detective?
No.
It's shocking, isn't it? And you believe him. I mean, he just said, they never caught me. They never pinned it on me. The other thing, but I killed this guy on October 13th or whatever. And these guys have just got to be like, just get out of his way. Just let him go. We're solving all kinds of crimes tonight.
Yeah, you have to walk a fine line with this because he might be, he knows he's already going to prison, so he might be taking the rap for somebody else.
Yeah.
But you'll see the guy on the left, the top maroon guy. He's like, I think I better take a pen out now. I think I better write this one down.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
He parked, broad daylight.
Why'd you do that?
He robbed me.
What was his name?
Jamie Molina. You can call him and verify if you like.
Muniz's account of events and the timeline pertaining to the Molina murder doesn't quite match up with the version provided by Molina's family or the Camden County Police Department. Nevertheless, Muniz would eventually circle back to Molina's death, but for now, the detective redirects the conversation to focus on what Muniz did in the immediate aftermath of his most recent and horrific crime.
All the way over to Clark Avenue, is that where you flagged on the police?
Yeah, I guess. I just want to see any cop, man, just so I could go back home. I don't belong on the streets. I don't. You got other people who belong on the streets. I don't. They should have never let me home.
So when you left the house for a walk, did you like throw it in the garbage can, house, or just on the street?
I don't know. My mind was just focused on I need to go home.
So they're focused on recovering evidence. They really want that gun. They want the murder weapon to be able to solidify the case, even though he's giving a confession.
Yeah, you got to time to the scene. That
So-
the physical evidence is what you need. Go for it.
So he can give his confessions 9 ways to Sunday. He can also have a change of heart and have the defense attorney try to suppress his confessions. And if you don't have anything else to back that up, if you don't have any witnesses and you don't have any physical evidence and you don't have any of this other stuff, it's going to be hard to convict him if he changes his mind. So you really got to stay on him, excuse me, about getting this gun. You really want you don't want the gun out on the streets, but it's my sense in listening to this guy, these two homicide detectives are probably thinking the exact same thing, but it's my sense that, they're doing the dance with him and they're just appeasing him, trying to get him to tell them where the gun is, but he ain't giving up that gun. He knows exactly where it is. He's not giving it up. He gives 100 excuses as to why he doesn't know where it is, but there's a reason why. I mean, it's either stolen or it's been used in another crime or something else. I mean,
He borrowed it from a criminal associate, maybe somebody on parole. possible.
that shouldn't be, that shouldn't have it. So, you'll see him beat around the bush, and he's basically saying, "You already got me on murder. What are you worried about the gun for?" And they pull out some stops at the end. You'll see.
I didn't care about where the gun was at. I didn't care about if they was looking for me, nothing. I just wanted to come back home.
Where's home?
The box. I don't want nothing else. So I'm guilty of it. You can write it down. I don't really care.
Can you at least describe the gun? What kind of gun was it?
I don't know, man. It used to kill people, dude. I didn't look at the details of a gun.
Where'd you get it?
That I don't know.
Was it just at the house?
Just a verbal cue when he said, "Where did you get it?" He said, "That I don't know."
Yeah.
Which means all the other stuff I just told you, I know. So like, sometimes you don't catch that in the conversation, but
I don't know.
Are you hungry? Do you want something?
No, I want to remember.
That's what I'm saying. Is if you're hungry, you need something to help you.
Mr. Nunez, are you on any medications at the current moment?
No. I'm normal, I guess. Well, I don't know what the hell they're gonna call me now.
So, do you recall who all was in the house?
Well, I know I walked into my sister's room and I shot Tone first.
You say Tone?
Yeah, Anthony.
Is that the 16-year-old?
No, that's the black dude. I shot him first.
The boyfriend?
My sister's husband.
Okay.
And then my sister looked at me and put her hands up and I shot her. And then I walked out the room and my niece told me, "How you doing?" And I didn't want to shoot her. I didn't want her to die. So I didn't shoot her in the head.
she's 8.
The boy I shot in the head.
He's 16 or 18.
Then I went upstairs and I shot him in the face.
Who?
Angel. And then I came back downstairs and I walked back in my sister's room and I shot Tone again. And then I went next to my sister and I put a bullet in the back of her head.
Now, your niece, was she shot at all?
Yeah, I shot her, but I didn't want her to die.
Okay.
She's harmless, just... I wouldn't have killed her son either. But, I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't want her to die. So I didn't shoot her in her face.
Really?
That was kind. So just so we're clear too, the interview room is set up. I'm not a big fan of the table in between, but you need it to take notes sometimes. I get it. It's a personal preference thing. He's sitting in a, just like what would be a standard 4-legged chair. Like, it's a little bit sturdier. It's an office chair. It's like, I think they call them executive chairs or something for the visitors in your office, basically. And it's like a waiting room chair, basically. And the reason for that is so you're not in a swivel situation, not in a swivel chair, because when you're interrogating somebody, you're doing everything you can to read the body language and match it with what they're saying. And if he's shifting and doing all this other stuff, he can expend energy if he's in a swivel chair.
He's fighting the chair, and you're just going to get a bunch of static in terms of what his body is communicating. Here, we could see him with a mostly open body posture. What I'm getting from him is that he's annoyed. He doesn't really want to be here. He wants to move on, but I'm not getting any deception from that. I'm not an expert. I'm just someone who's talked to people. What do you get?
I get the exact same thing. I get that he's lazy and that he just like doesn't understand. Like, I just told you guys what I did. Like, what do we have to go through all this other stuff for? I deliberately went out of my way to put bullets in people's brains so I would never have to walk the street again. I waved you guys down. I am now sitting here telling you, describing you everything. What are we waiting for? I just want to get to my new home.
The shocking thing is he probably perpetrated such a horrible crime to avoid this exact thing. It was probably in his mind, well, as bad as if I could just make it really bad, they'll just put me on a high-speed train back to a life in prison.
Yeah.
He could have just stolen a couple of cars and gone to prison for a long time. That would have been a fun night in which nobody had to die. But instead, he very selfishly decided that everyone was expendable in his goals. Drew, go ahead.
No, that's it. Let's keep going. We got a little bit to go.
The guy upstairs that died, he used to beat me as a kid. And he got away with it because nobody would listen to me when I used to ask for help. Nobody listened.
Who is he?
He raised me.
Angel, you said?
Yeah. He raised me. He used to beat out of me, have me kneeling down on heater vents and digging holes. And he bought a snakeskin belt. I used to have to do push-ups, so he smacked me in the back of the head. He used to take toolboxes and slap me with it, throw bricks at me. The last thing was he bought a bullwhip. And that's when I ran away. So I killed him.
Mr. Muniz, you said you got out of prison 4 years ago?
Yeah, at the end of 2018.
And how long have you been in there?
Altogether, I did 21 years, but in between, I've been home maybe 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah, about 4 times. 2013, December 13, 2013, I got caught. I had the gun that I killed Jamie with. And I copped out to the gun so they wouldn't pay attention to the murder. And it worked. They gave me 5 with a 5, day for day.
That was here?
No, that was in New Jersey.
So you said you killed Jamie because he robbed you?
Yeah, he robbed me in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him when he was robbing me that I would give him my money. It's unnecessary for you to, a scary guy will shoot you faster than I will.
Mm-hmm.
And he started shaking, and I'm telling him, dude, just take the money I'm giving you and go. Like, I'm not even gonna look for you because I understand the streets.
Sure.
And he kept doing it, and then he slapped me with the gun. And his mistake was he allowed me to look up. So he had prison Reeboks on and prison sweatpants on. And some type of, I don't know what the he had on his face. And he ran. So somebody brought me a gun, and I started walking around. Between 3 and 4 o'clock, I seen him cross the street. I followed behind him. He walked to somebody's door and started banging on the door. When he walked to the sidewalk, I shot him in his face, and I walked away. That happened October. So, I don't know, I guess they was looking for somebody, I don't know. December 13th was Friday of 2013, and there was 3 kids throwing snowballs at a police car. So, and I had drugs on me. I was gonna pay them $500 each to stop so I could get the hell away. Well, that didn't work. The guy's name was Chief John B. Shaw. He pulled the van over, yanked me out the van. I had the gun that I killed Jamie on me. And I told him I had it on me. They slammed me around and all that kind of extra. And when I went to court, it was supposed to be 51 years and 9 months. Well, I know that the judge was a family court judge, so I played on it. And I told her my mother had lung cancer. So she told me, well, what do you want to do? I said, I'll cop out to a certain person's charge for the gun, a 5 with a 5 right now, and you can send me down the street. And that's what she did. Before I came home, homicide came to see me. 2 of them. Some lady and a bald-headed guy. And they was asking questions about Jamie. Because I guess they ran ballistics on the pistol.
Mm-hmm.
So during their questioning, I kept asking them, are you charging me with murder or homicide or anything like that? And they kept saying no. I asked them 3 times. After the 3rd time, I don't want to talk no more. And I told the police, you could get me out of here. I don't know what you're going to do with them. They didn't catch me. This one right here, I don't feel like running. I don't feel like going through difficulty. So I figure I just kill her whole family, tell you guys come get me and go back home. So you guys are making it harder than it needs to be. All you have to do is say I'm guilty on paper. That's it.
We're not trying to make it complicated.
Well, they are. You know how many people was on that street? Then you got.
No, we weren't over there, so we have no idea, to be honest.
You know
with you.
what I find amazing is, if I'm in a police car and you have people walking up there that I guess they feel some type of way that I killed them. If you're really gonna do something to me, why are you standing in front of the cops? Why not just wait till the police car starts moving and shoot at it? So you want to be seen. And this is why I can't live with. People on the streets are stupid. They don't have no sense. They want to be seen. They want to be the center of attention. I don't. Just put me back in the box and forget that pill, whatever. I don't care. Whatever, however they're going to play it. Send me back there. I don't want to be seen.
What does this say when this guy has an indictment of society saying that everyone craves attention and he just wants to be left alone? I thought it's so interesting to me as someone with a sociology degree that this guy is in prison and his whole world is different than our world, and he comes out into our world and he doesn't like the way everyone wants attention. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, he's defeated. I mean, he's totally defeated. But
I don't belong out here, man. I can't get used to this out here. They don't have no respect out here. Everything is a problem out here. If I walk too hard, it's a problem. If I don't get a job fast enough, it's a problem. You know how much I weighed when I moved to my sister's house? 320 pounds. Do I look like I'm 320 pounds, man? Because they starved me. I just had to sit in the basement and shut up like a dog. Well, I got tired of it. I never been nobody's. I let them live because she was my sister for as long as they was living, or she would have been dead. And I kept telling them to stop messing with me. Just leave me alone. I'm going to get a job. It's just taking me longer than most people. You know, somebody doing an application or interview is going to ask you, you've been locked up. Yeah, I did 21 years. You think they're going to hire you, man? It's not easy. And they kept doing me, man. Or they make smart little comments. You know, I know your feet hurt. Yeah, my feet hurt. Dude, I walk 11 miles trying to get a job because you won't drive me. And I'll pay you gas money when I get paid, dude. I ain't doing nothing for free. What hurts me the most is he lived. That's what hurts.
Talking about his pain.
No.
Yeah. Because he thinks one escaped his death.
Both of them came home that day and they started acting funny. So first she told her son to make something to eat. At 10 o'clock at night, she told him to make some, I don't know if you know what they are, but empanadas. They look like, okay, she told him to make, at 10 o'clock at night, he had to make 3 packs of those for her to give it to her, whoever. And her son told her, Mom, I have to go to school. She said, I don't give a. So I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I came upstairs and I said, yo, Jay, you ate today? He like, nah. I asked Iana, you ate today? He said, no. I said, so nobody in this house ate, but my sister wants you to make food for somebody else, to take to somebody else. But none of us ate here in this house. So I went to the basement. I said, damn, I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of it. And I couldn't sleep. And that's all I thought about, man, just get rid of them. And then today, they came home. My sister ordered cleaning supplies delivered to the house. So I cleaned the house up. And then she came home, and they made chicken and macaronis and mashed potatoes. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I went downstairs in the basement. I'm on my bed, and my feet hurt because I got blisters on my feet. So I was laying down for a while, but in my head, I'm gonna go upstairs and eat later. And I went upstairs. I don't see no food nowhere. Oh man, what the?
Whatever happened to chow time?
And that was the last straw, man. I said, man, this. I'm tired. I'm already losing massive amounts of weight.
You're right, John. If we just bring back the family dinner, like this could all be avoided, I think.
The family dinner or the rigid structure of a day in prison, right?
Like I'm crack or something. And then I come home, so my thing was I would clean the house to justify me staying there. So you can never say I'm not just living there. And then at the same time, I'm trying to work. I'm walking around trying to get a job, or whatever. And then I sometimes I would cook for them. I just got tired of it, man. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. People like me should never come home. Never. You know, everybody. You got people in there that cry about coming home. Oh man, I've been there my whole life. I'm 41 years old and I got 21 years in a box. Dude, don't let me out. And I told him that before I left. This is the biggest mistake you could do. Just let me stay. Why even let me home? I educated myself here. I don't cause trouble here. You know, when I first started my bid, yeah, of course I defend myself against tough guys. But towards the end, don't got no issue. And they still let me out. Now look, you got, I don't know how many of them died, but you got dead people.
You see how it's our fault? Says we've got dead people because the parole board didn't heed his warning about letting him out or whatever. It's now it's on us. I knew lots of guys like this. In fact, I knew a guy once who said the only reason he was in prison is because he knew a guy who tried to get himself murdered. He was in there for attempted murder. He's the one that did the attempting, and he blamed the victim. He said it was his fault for trying to get himself murdered. And we actually deal with guys like this all the time, even inside prison, because inside the prison, there's prison inside prison. There's guys that are in an administrative segregation. They're there. They live in a cell where they're in the cell 23 hours a day. They only come out for a shower and for rec time, which actually takes place in a cage. And they'll have trouble with gangs or being in the general population, or they'll be so notorious that they can't survive even in prison. So they want to be in administrative segregation. And what's interesting is, if I can have a brief war story, is that the ACLU comes in and says, hey, you've got to get these guys out. They can't be in solitary confinement the rest of their lives. That's cruel and unusual. And we'll tell them, like, look, his behavior is excellent. He can come out of administrative segregation, but he tells us very frankly, he will hurt an officer. He says, I will take your eye if you take me out of the cell. If you put me in GP, I'm going to hurt somebody.
And that's funny, John, because that's the same manipulation that this guy's using. He's like, and you have to take him at his word.
You do, because
right, because if not, he is going to hurt an officer. He's just like, I
another
told
inmate.
you what I was going to do. Like, I specifically told you that I was going to hurt another officer because I want to be in here.
Yeah.
And you didn't listen.
And we have to protect the other inmates too. So if he gets out, if he says, I'm going to hurt someone, and we say, well, whatever, and we put him in the general population and he hurts another inmate, that's a lawsuit on us because it was reasonable danger that we could have foreseen and prevented. And what's interesting about it is that, like, right now, the New York State legislature has all kinds of rules about how long someone could be in solitary. Right now, in corrections, there's a huge war against solitary confinement. And we'll have guys like this who don't want to be in GP, and the law forces us to put them out. And, which officer is it that's going to go over and unlock the door and say, you're free to go back to general population? So we're in tremendous amount of danger. In fact, I had an inmate once threaten me. He was threatened. In the morning at 8 a.m., he was supposed to go back to general population. It's 1:30 in the morning. He calls me to his cell front. He tells me he's going to kill me. And I'm not playing his games, I guess. And this is above my pay grade. So I didn't I'm just messing with him a little bit. I'm just like, nah, you don't mean that. You're just stressed out. You'll adapt. You're going to have a great time. Think about it. You could go to rec twice a day if you get a job, and you're going to be able to do craft work. It's going to be great for you. And he keeps like, no, I won't repeat here what he told me he was going to do to me. And I just have to laugh it off because it's like, what do you say to the guy? Like, am I supposed to write him up for threatening staff and give him exactly what he wants? What the hell do you do? And now we have this guy out in the community, and case in point, he probably told someone at the corrections department at one point he didn't want to be out. But corrections can't just say, well, you're staying here for life because we pay for this and you didn't commit the crime. He didn't admit to this other murder, which apparently he did. He could have done that if he didn't want to get out on parole or however flattening his sentence. Why didn't he confess to that crime? Maybe he didn't know how bad it would be on the outside, I guess. But it seems like he had all the tools to stay inside and decided not to use them. And now he's blaming us.
Yeah.
It's shocking. And people don't understand that there's people like this inside prison.
All this could have been avoided if you just left me in the box. I didn't want to come home. I didn't have nowhere to go. I met this girl, and I went to her house.
Lourdes or your sister?
No, my Lourdes. I met her on the internet, and I hurried up and talked my way into her house because that's the only place I could go. And then she always took care of me. I didn't have to work. She told me not to. So anything I wanted, she would buy. Here, I need a computer. She'll buy it. Never ask questions. I need a phone. She'll buy it. I need a tablet. She'll buy it. I ran myself away from her by saying she's cheating all the time. Because I'm not accustomed to being taken care of. I don't want to be there no more. And that's when I started moving around. I went to Texas. I was living on Sam Houston base for like 9 months. And then I went to New Jersey. I was living in Marlton, I don't know, for like a month, 2 months. And then I went back to Illinois. I was living in Elgin. And then I came here to Cleveland. I don't belong outside, man.
So when you talked to Lourdes, that was after you did everything.
Yeah, I tell her everything. I told her I did it, and she said, why? And I said, I don't know. It's done. And then I said, yo, I feel like it's a mistake, but it's already done. What can I do? And she said, I'm calling somebody, and she called somebody over here, because that's why the police was there. If I would have never called her, they would have never knew they was there. Man, I could have left. Nobody would have went to that house for weeks.
Thanks for doing us the favor.
I had to throw it somewhere. 9 times out of 10, I shut it off so they can't track it. And I know that I separate the clip, the top bullet, and the gun. They're not together. They're probably not even next to each other. Let me tell you something. I don't know you from a can of paint, dude. People in the Army, even though, they're normal people, they have a justification for doing what they do, are similar to the guys in the street who kill people. Once it happens, your mind is no longer your mind. Your mind is only on instinct. And my instinct was to separate the gun and get rid of it so that nobody could grab it.
No.
If that were the case, he wouldn't know.
No,
It's just, somebody brought that up in the comments about Sarah Boone today, which was so insightful. I hadn't even thought about it for all this time. Like, how is it that she could remember that they started this game of hide and seek, but she was so shit hammered that she didn't remember that she recorded him in a suitcase? It doesn't jive. So that whole thing was a lie. It's the same thing this guy just did. It's like, if he's gonna purport that he was in code black, that your mind is hijacked once you K somebody, then how do you know that's what you did? How do you know that you separated it? How do you know you separated the magazine and took the bullets out? And how do you know any of that?
No,
he just doesn't want them to find the gun. That's all. I mean, and I'm telling you, as my interview technique or tactic would be, I would call him on that, and I would say that exact thing. Like, I honestly just don't think you want us to find the gun, and I think you're having trouble processing. We don't give a shit about, like, we're not going to charge you with the gun. You've already, what you did. I mean, like, like I would try to reason with him. I mean, who knows if it would work or it wouldn't work. I mean,
Correctional officers also get very good at detecting the bullshit because it comes up a lot. We get a lot of experience with it. And the way that we deal with these guys is a little different than cops. We would just say, like, you're a fucking liar, dude. Where's the gun at? We could just be a little bit more direct.
yeah, like let's not bullshit each other.
Yeah.
I know a kid can't grab it because I wouldn't have put it in his reach. In fact, I wouldn't have put it in your reach. And you're a grown man. So 9 times out of 10, the gun is somewhere that ain't gonna be found. I don't know where it's at because I didn't stand around to see where it's at.
I understand. I was just hoping maybe you might hit a reference. It is what it is.
I don't know what streets I was walking on. All I know is once I made the decision, like, damn, I don't have nowhere else to go. I don't have no money to get on a Greyhound bus. I might as well go back home. I've been for the last year or so. Every time I go to sleep, you know what? It's better for me. I had a better time in jail than I do on the streets, man. I educated myself in jail. I got my high school diploma. It's not a GED. I taught myself the same way they teach you in school here in jail. Out here, I'm doing nothing, but I produce nothing. I'm just in the way. So it's time to go back.
So just a quick break. If you find if you're really trying to get to the bottom of something, and you really want to persist and find that gun, like there's a reason you want to find that gun because he's throwing the kitchen sink at him. The first thing we're going to go to is, man, you don't want a kid to find that. The kid's going to find that, and yeah, I mean they're in Cleveland, so I mean I'm sure he can invoke Tamir Rice or whatever. You don't want a kid to find that and shoot somebody. That's on your head. Like you probably wouldn't be charged for it, but you'd be living with it for the rest of your life. How are you going to sleep?
He would tell you if a kid finds that gun, he'd say it's on your hands because you didn't find it.
Right. So my tactic here would be if he's just not going to be straight up about it. I mean, I would say, look, if you're hiding this for a reason, like if you're hiding this to protect somebody, I respect that. I respect that you're trying to protect. I still need to find the gun, so I'm going to do everything I can to try to get it. Hopefully you can respect that. What I want to do, though, is if you genuinely don't remember, I just want to walk backwards with you. We started this conversation 2 hours ago, however long ago. You, from that point, you met with the officers in front of the convenience store. Where were you right before that? And where were you right before that? And I would just continue the conversation until we figured out a point where either he's not giving it up or he stumbles and or lies about a part of that, because that's where the gun is, somewhere in between here and here, right? People can remember when they rehearse a story, when they tell a story, when they're lying, they do it just like they read a book from left to right. Okay, so I left the house, I went to the convenience store, I talked to the cops, I got in the car, and I went. That's how people remember stuff. When you ask them to do it in the reverse, they can't do it. They can't do it in order. So you could, by process of elimination, my thought is you really got to treat this guy with kid gloves if you want that information, because he's just at some point going to say, I'm done talking. I don't want to.
He'll do that quick. He's been dealing with cops for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you know what? That's also a play that I've used before, John. Like, look, man, you're a pro at this. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. You've been doing this for a long time. Like, let's just not. Why are you making my life hard? I'm not trying to make your life hard. Like, you appeal to his professionalism almost. Like you're
a professional criminal. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you just kind of like, and this is all about building the rapport. And there are times.
Respect. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a respect thing. I mean, there are like, I'm never fully proud of gaining the confidence of a criminal, but I've had people thank me for treating them the way I treated them, or thank me for giving them the opportunity to tell the story. before I put him in prison or before I
Yeah.
put him in jail. Like prison comes later, but
Well, I've also talked to guys too where they'll say just straight up like, "Hey, I'm a criminal. You let me out, I'm going to do this again." They do kind of come to a reckoning, or they understand themselves. And someone who's been inside 20 years, they're going to respect that you just cut to the chase and you're not doing the gamesmanship and you're not trying to like Sherlock Holmes them.
Or
You could just say like, we both know what we're after and we both know why. So let's do it.
yeah, you can treat it like cops and robbers also. Like you can swear you're sitting across from your mortal enemy. That's fine. He's going to pick up on that too. You don't have to be best friends with this guy. You don't have to take him home and make him dinner and give him a nice warm place to sleep. You can treat him with a little respect. If what you want, I always taught in the interviews and interrogations class, the currency they have in their pocket is information. You're a salesman, and all you're trying to do is get that money out of their pocket. So whatever way you have to do it, you don't have to identify with, or you don't have to empathize with somebody being a pedophile. You don't have to empathize with somebody, K-ing their entire family. You don't have to do any of that. You could just kind of treat them with respect, though, enough to get the information out of them and take it from there. You don't have to, you don't have to live with them you don't have to live with it. You don't have to live with the guilt that they have to live with too. And that's also something you might remind them about too. Like, look, dude, this is pretty heavy stuff, and it may not have hit you like a ton of bricks yet, but it's gonna one night when you're laying there in your bed, you're just looking up, and it's another bed above you, and that's your fate. And if you want to live with this on your chest for the rest of your life, or you want to live with this monkey on your back, that's your prerogative. I get it. I understand it. Well, why wouldn't you empty the bucket? Why wouldn't you tell me what, why wouldn't you just get rid of it? Let's just talk it, talk it out. Let's get rid of it.
You may still end up having to get nothing out of them and having to do the legwork yourself, just good old fashioned cop work of trying to figure out if you have CCTV or witnesses or other things like that to try to track down that gun, or rounding up the usual suspects. That's always a good one. When you mentioned earlier about how he could be trying to take the rap for somebody else, that's still instructive. Take that information, because you could find out who he might have been associated with inside prison that might have had no alibi in the same area, someone that wasn't necessarily doing, like someone who stood to gain from that. So get all that information. You can compare it to information you have, especially if he's got guilty information, stuff that's not known in the press. Then it's definitely actionable. Do you want to finish this out?
Yeah, finish it out. The only reason I'm saying finish it out is because there's some victim stuff at the end.
All right.
Nah, man, when they're gonna send me to the county, man? So I can get this trip started.
He wants to go.
I'll go find out. Hopefully, it's gonna be soon.
Like slipping into a hot bath.
Watch the bald guy that's handcuffing him when he grabs his hoodie, and tell me that's somebody that's never worked in a corrections environment. Watch.
Grab his jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the cuffs?
Yeah.
Initially, Muniz was on track for a spot at the Chillicothe Correctional Institution, also known as Ohio's Death Row. But that fate changed when he agreed to plead guilty to 4 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of attempted aggravated murder. In exchange, he avoided the death penalty and was instead sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. Additionally, he received 15 years for firearms specifications and up to 16 and a half years for the attempted murder charge.
Here's some victims' details.
A 4th family member died at the hospital after being shot inside this home on Matt Court Friday night. 48-year-old Anthony Booth was the brother-in-law of accused killer Martin Muniz. Muniz, who is being held at the Cuyahoga County Jail, is now facing aggravated murder charges. He's also accused of shooting and killing his sister, Angelique Gonzalez, Angelique's son, 16-year-old Jaden Baez, and the suspect's own father, 69-year-old Miguel Gonzalez. A document filed with Cleveland Municipal Court states that just after 7 p.m. on Friday, Muniz shot all 5 victims in the head in different rooms of the house. The lone survivor now, the suspect's 8-year-old niece, Iana, left fighting for her life in the hospital, orphaned by this unthinkable crime.
Shocking. Truly horrible.
So I see someone say that he looks like Jack Black. I was thinking Planet of the Apes.
I don't know. I'm so disgusted by him that I'm trying not to liken him to anyone, I guess.
He had an outburst in court when they were sentencing him. They had victim impact statements, and he literally asked the judge, "This is," and I'm telling you, this is his mindset. Like he's almost too honest, and this is why I say he's lazy. Like he just wanted to commit the murders and not do anything else. Oh, I said the M word. He just wanted to commit the deeds and not have to do anything but serve the time. But while somebody was dealing with a victim impact statement, or the judge was kind of berating, like berating him, he was like, "I don't want to hear this. I'm tired. I don't want to hear this. Like, do whatever you're gonna do with me. I don't want to like save it. Like it's basically on the traffic stop where the person says,
just give me the ticket.
Just give me the ticket. Don't save your lecture. I don't give a shit about your lecture."
But to be honest, that's the part where we get some semblance of justice or healing, is when we hold you to account, right? So just sending you away is not enough. Like with Sarah Boone, just to keep going back to that well, but they came out and they said, what went wrong? The victims have that right, and he should have to elocute to the whole thing. He should have to say what it is that he did if he's going to take a plea or whatever. And I guess it's too much to ask for him to be sorry, because he's not, but it's just really frustrating. There's just no way for us to deal with somebody like him. And like I said earlier, just the common person can't understand the psychology of a guy like this. Like I said, he's not mentally ill. He's completely responsible for all this. He just doesn't care. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people like this in the world. They don't all do spectacular acts like kill 4 people, but they'll kill one, or they'll do other things, other crimes that would get this video demonetized. Before we go, I do have a voicemail, which reminds me, of course, if you wanted to leave a voicemail for the show, you can call 848-COM-911. That's 848-266-6911. Nice. Yes. You can leave us a voicemail anytime. We love voicemails. We have not been getting a lot of voicemails lately. It almost makes me think that like the voicemail is an antiquated technology. Like it might be going by the wayside, but you know what? We're going to be the last stalwarts. We're going to have that here until the day that we die. And not just because there's all kinds of cognitive dissonance, and it's messy because we pay for it. So it's like, it's sort of, we have to justify it. Yeah. Make sure you leave a comment below. Do you think we should have just locked him up and thrown away the key and not gone through all this trouble to interview him at length when we had everything that we needed? How would you handle it if you were a cop? Go ahead and leave a comment below. We love those. We love responding to those. We respond to them all day long. Also, you can catch us on Apple if you just like to listen. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. If you hate the show, leave a review. We love hateful reviews, but we love 5-star ones even better. Spotify, a great place to catch us. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating there. On Instagram, you can find us at the Comm Center. You can find Drew at What Say Drew. Drew Crime Official is another place you could find Drew. You could find excellent commentary and content over there as well. You can find me at I Stand Correct, I guess, if you want to. We're also on Twitter if you wanted to catch us over there. If that's your favorite platform, there's content there for you to find. We're also on Facebook. If you're still a boomer, then you could go over there and you can get on Facebook and do that. I'm on Facebook, or I don't know if I'm or not, but just one place you cannot find us, you never will find us, is on TikTok. So just as a reminder, we're not over there. So with that in mind, I guess with your permission, Drew, I'll go ahead and play these voicemails. Jim, how are you doing? Let me guess. It's Jim, right?
Just one of them. I think we had instruction not to play the second one.
Oh, I didn't read that. Okay,
Yeah,
so I'll only play one. Here we go.
Florida, calling about the sentencing. And I have no words. Just crazy. Thanks. Bye.
Have you ever seen that before, where someone answers in a text thread, they go, "I'm speechless," and then the 3 little dots there as they write a whole paragraph?
That's kind of what Sarah did, actually.
I'm speechless. Yeah, there are no words, she said at the end of a 20-minute diatribe about how it was everyone else's fault.
Seeing a lot of comments in our in that video, the re-release of that video, the edited version, that entire front 2, 3, 4 minute thing about the vase and the gold and all that other stuff, completely plagiarized, completely, almost verbatim plagiarized from some Hakachaka Saki or something. I don't like. I
heard
know
it was
the name of the author.
yeah.
But.
It was some sort of motivational calendar or something. I'm surprised she didn't get it from a cat poster. She goes, I was sitting in my basement doing the laundry and I looked up and I saw a feline and it said hang in there, and I just knew that the longer I hung in there, it was so contrived and devoid of originality and wisdom. And when I was watching it the first time, I just face palmed, right? It's like the face palm Picard meme. As soon as she starts talking, that's exactly how you felt. And it didn't end for 20 minutes. And I've been seeing since then that the judge saw something like an 86 original version of that. You know, she was edited down to the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg, just the tip. And the judge, I guess, saw the original version to decide, ain't nobody got time for that, Sarah. We gotta lock you up for the rest of our lives. You know, there was some sort of last ditch maneuver to just be on the stand the rest of her life rather than go to prison. But she also sent a letter to the judge yesterday saying that he was biased and that he made up his mind before she was ever allowed to talk. So she did her whole 20-minute thing, and somehow she feels it was unfair. She never even had a chance to sway the judge. Sarah, the judge made up his mind about you needing to be in prison 3.5 years ago. So you're definitely late to that game. Folks, we will catch you back here next week. Reminder, if you are a member of the show, which you can be a member, we would love it if you would become one. You can catch us for a coffee break on Monday morning. I break down memes and more for the worst day of the week. It's kind of become a fun show. And then at some point in the future, we'll bring back the after show, which is a show that happens at night. So I think going forward, that'll be a member show. Drew, what do you think?
Yeah, I've got I have three stories I could have told tonight off of this. And I'm not big on telling more stories. You know, sometimes it's out of protection for sometimes I just don't want to relive it, you know. I got 3 stories out of this one that I could tell. One dealing with a very hardened criminal, just like this guy who is just take me to jail. Like, I'm not gonna, I did it. Like, what are you waiting for? I think I might do a members only kind of live.
Drew's war stories. Drew's re-traumatizing of himself.
Yeah.
Have a licensed clinician there with you who's like just standing behind you with like a clipboard. He's constantly ready to take over the podcast.
Yeah, and somebody with one of those shock, you know, like the
the prod.
Bang stick. Yeah, the prod. Yeah.
Yep, and maybe just a big fishnet to put over your head. I don't know, just for comedic value. But no, we've talked about expanding members content. Boils Drew Blood is a show that I want to see real. Just him reading comments, like as he's working on our YouTube, just reading the shit and just getting mad. Just having a camera.
That's a good idea.
That would be awesome.
We definitely got berated by some old lady, and you know, spoiler alert, that wasn't AI that responded to her. That was me. And I told her about her ass. I told her about her old ass.
Yeah, if you guys don't like us, leave a comment below, but prepare to have your worldview shaken from a comment section. Because
hold on, look. The point of this is you can disagree all day long with us. That's fine. You can tell us we're bad, and you can do all that stuff. You're going to get a little pushback because we don't have enough of that in this world. Like, people just are pushovers nowadays, and but be right. Have your facts straight, you old lady.
Like, it reminds me of trades, planes, and automobiles. You know, when you tell a story, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it way more interesting.
Right. And that lady was like, "You're fucked." But
you have no agreement? No, I lost. Oh.
So I mean, I can respect it. I'll tell you what, the whole reason, one of the main reasons why I edited and chopped and re-released the Sarah Boone thing, which, by the way, is at like 3,300 views right now. It's one of our biggest videos.
I'm a big deal now. I don't have to respond to the fans.
Right. I'll call that our first home run. That's our first major league home run.
Thanks
but
to me.
That came from the comments on the previous on the video that I edited. It came from the comments of and she was just basically like, you guys just aren't that intriguing. Like you're boring. You're talking too much.
They said I'm not compelling. That's a lie.
Yeah, not compelling. So not compelling to her and not compelling are two different things. One, two, I can eat the criticism. Again, be right. Just, but this one was a particularly like I had something I had to get off my chest. And I got off my chest, and it probably was boring to some people, but there are I tend to disagree with the 40. We are at 4,281 subscribers right now. You don't have to subscribe. Like, like I do, as I always have done in the smart ass way, apologize for our free content. I'm sorry I made you watch that. Don't go fuck yourself at all.
I really do want your subscription. Please subscribe. I'm desperate. Drew can be salty and mad, but I really want it. So please subscribe. I'll change my views to whatever yours are. Just let me know what they are. But Drew, I love seeing you get mad. That should almost be the segment at the end. And Drew's blood will boil at the end. What will it be this time? Will it be the price of gas? Yeah. Will it be traffic? What's Drew mad about today?
Right.
All right,
fucking
guys.
Sprinklers.
Fucking sprinkler system. They're screwing me over. All right, guys. Sorry about everything. Boilerplate apology. We'll catch you back here this time next week on Com Center. Make sure you share it out with a friend. Leave a comment below. We love all you guys. We'll catch you back here next week.
Steve Largent.
Who's that guy with the big sideburns? Carl Yastrzemski.
Yes?